Hi, I'm Dr. C. Suman Kumar. I'm consultant pediatrician at Ankura Hospital. See, parents always, a talkative child, a child who speaks really well, speaks faster, earlier than other children are always considered as smarter children, no doubt, undoubtedly. But what we need to understand is just because a child talks early doesn't make a child smart. There are more things added to it. And just because you make that child mug a few things, say a few things, like capitals of the world, or the capitals of the state, or certain chief ministers or prime ministers, the child can speak out everything, doesn't make a child smart. It is understanding the language and expressing the language, two aspects of speech which are very important. And one more aspect of speech which is very important is the hearing aspect. These three are very important. Just because a child talks early doesn't make a child smarter, and just because a child talks later doesn't make a child dumber. That is something which we need to keep in mind. So when does the language actually develop in a child? When can we understand that there is a language delay, and when we should intervene? This is something which we need to we need to remember. First thing, immediately after, once the child completes 12 months to 15 months of age, the child should be in a position to understand your language and follow your commands. Understand your language means whatever we are telling the child should reciprocate it, like bringing a glass of water, or bringing a ball, or bringing an object, or keeping an object somewhere without any sign languages. Whenever you are trying to communicate with the child should be in a position to understand it, whatever you have said, and follow those commands. If the child is in a position to follow those commands, he has developed the receptive language perfectly, and is also hearing the speech completely. So you need to understand whether the child is hearing the speech well or not. When he hears the speech, he automatically follows the command. And second thing, his response to loud noises. If it's absolutely fine, then hearing is absolutely fine. So receptive language is the first aspect of language development. If a child can understand a language properly, then he knows what speech is. Only thing he has to do is express it out. So first part of speech is hearing. Next part of speech is understanding it, assimilating what kind of speech is getting in, and then the last part of speech is expressing it out. This takes time. This differs from child to child. There are few children who are shy in mentality, restrictive, and few children who are very expressive. So children who are very expressive talk faster. Children who are shy in mentality, especially children who are born in nuclear families, who talk less, who roam around less, who mix with other people less, usually they express out a little bit later. So that doesn't mean that this child has got a delayed speech. So when do we know that there is a problem? As I have said, by 15 months of age, the child should understand certain aspects of your language once the parents are communicating it. By 18 months of age, the child should be at least in a position to speak 1 to 2 meaningful words. You see, this is, I am saying, the latest. They can speak 1 to 2 words by 9 months to 10 months of age only. But 1 to 2 meaningful words, they should be in a position to express it out. And by the age of 2 years, they should be in a position to form at least small sentences, small meaningful sentences, to get their job done and ask for their demands comfortably. Small demands they can ask, but make it in small sentences with at least 10 meaningful words. They should be in a position to have at least vocabulary of 10 meaningful words. That is the minimum requirement, not the maximum. If they have achieved that, then the child definitely doesn't have a speech delay. If they don't achieve it, then definitely you need to visit the pediatrician. Other aspect which we need to remember is not only speaking, but speaking with meaning. That's why I said meaningful words. A child can blabber anything. Right from 8-9 months, they'll have this blabbering speech, but that blabbering speech is acceptable only till certain age. But after 18 months also, the child is still blabbering. He's still talking but doesn't make any sense. He doesn't keep an eye contact, and he is busy in his own world, speaks only selective words, some or the rare time, and doesn't have any meaning in whatever he's saying, indicates the child might be having other problems other than speech delays. He might be having certain developmental and learning disability, for which you need to visit the pediatrician and take guidance from the pediatrician whether everything is all right or something else needed to be done. So we need to remember understanding the speech by 15 months, speaking at least 2 to 3 meaningful words by 18 months, and speaking in small sentences by 2 years of age. And by 3 years of age, they should be in a position to tell small stories also, something which we need to remain in mind. You see that child is going not crossing these things, then please visit the pediatrician and take help. So, and another last point I want to remember, it is not the expression of speech, it is not the expression, it is the reception of speech which is very important. Why do children have Speech delays, most of the times, if you look into it, what are the reasons for which a child might develop speech delays? Three main reasons what we could see in a normal child, I am talking about a normal child, is because of too much of television, too much of media shown to the child in the form of rhymes, ABCDs, cartoons and stuff like that, where there is a different language which grows on the television, and in live there is a different language which goes on in house, the child gets confused. Second, too many languages at one point of time. On TV there is one language, the parents speak with themselves in another language, and then the child, because they wanted the child to learn in English, they speak in communicate with the child in another language, and sometimes they also use baby language, means other words which they normally don't use for the baby. So these are things which we shouldn't do. And last aspect is sign language, understanding the sign languages of the child. Children are very smart, they use the sign language to communicate, the parents immediately understand, the child need not express himself out. So you need to avoid all these three things. First thing is too much of media, screen time should be reduced, your time should increase. Second thing, use only one language of communication with the child. You are speaking in Telugu, then let it be the mother tongue, whatever you are expressing. Let's keep the same mother tongue to the child, express the child in the same. Let the child learn one language proficiently. They can understand 4 languages, but let him hear and listen to one language proficiently. Moment they go to school, they'll start picking up other languages as well. And third, stop understanding their sign languages. They keep showing certain things and you keep understanding, they need not express any language. Until unless they go to school, they'll never get an opportunity to express themselves out. We do that, then the child will be challenged to express himself out. The more challenged he is, he or she is, the more ability to speak also develops. So that's how. So that's something which we need to keep in mind. Thank you.